Have you ever sat at your desk for hours, reading your notes, highlighting everything in bright colors, convincing yourself you're studying hard, but then, the next day, it feels like your brain is completely empty? You stare at the exam paper, you recognize the questions, but your mind refuses to give you the answers. It's like the knowledge never stuck in the first place. And you start thinking, maybe I'm just not smart enough. Maybe my brain doesn't work like everyone else's. Maybe I'll never be good at studying. But let me tell you something important. It's not you. It's the method. Nobody ever taught you how your brain actually learns. And that's why you keep studying for hours, and remembering almost nothing. Think of your brain like a sponge. If you pour water onto it too quickly, most of it just runs off. That's what happens when you cram. The information never soaks in. But if you add water slowly, a little at a time, and give it a chance to absorb, the sponge holds it. That's how your brain works with memory. Now let's dig into the science. Your brain has two main memory systems: short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a whiteboard. You can write something on it, but it gets erased quickly. That's why you can read a sentence 5 times, and then instantly forget it when you look away. Long-term memory is like a library. Once something goes in there, it stays for years, sometimes for life. The problem is, most students never move knowledge from the whiteboard to the library. They just keep scribbling on the whiteboard, hoping it will stay. So how do you move information into long-term memory? It comes down to 3 key things: repetition, retrieval, and emotion. Let's start with repetition. Your brain doesn't like one-time learning. It needs reminders. That's why spaced repetition works. If you study today, then review tomorrow, then again in 3 days, then a week later, your brain says, okay, this must be important. Let's store it. Cramming, on the other hand, is like shouting at your brain all at once. It might remember for a day, but soon it throws everything out. Now let's talk about retrieval. Most students read passively. They think that seeing the notes again and again equals learning. But that's not true. The real magic happens when you close the book and force your brain to recall. Ask yourself, what did I just read? What are the main points? Can I explain this in my own words? That struggle to remember is where learning actually happens. Every time you pull the information out, you're strengthening the memory, like lifting weights at the gym. Now let's add the third piece: emotion. Your brain is wired for survival. It remembers what feels important. That's why you remember embarrassing moments from childhood, but not the lecture you sat through last week. So how do you add emotion to studying? By making it meaningful. Turn boring facts into stories. Use examples from your own life. Visualize what you're learning. Get curious. Because if you study with zero emotion, your brain files it under not important. But if you laugh, if you wonder, if you connect the knowledge to your own dreams, your brain lights up. It says, yes, this matters. Save it. Now let's be real. There are also bad habits that make studying useless. Let me break them down. Number 1. Multitasking. Scrolling through your phone, listening to music with lyrics, watching Netflix in the background, and then you wonder why nothing sticks. Your brain cannot focus on 2 things at once. It either studies, or it scrolls. Not both. Number 2. Passive reading. Reading the same page 10 times doesn't mean you've learned it. Highlighting every sentence doesn't mean it's in your brain. These are tricks that make you feel productive, but they don't build memory. Number 3. Studying for too long without breaks. Your brain works best in cycles. Focus for 25 to 50 minutes, then take a short break. This is called the Pomodoro technique. If you push beyond your limit, your focus drops, and you end up wasting hours. Number 4. Cramming at night and sacrificing sleep. Here's the truth. Sleep is when your brain processes memories. If you skip sleep, your brain doesn't transfer knowledge from short-term to long-term, so you wake up feeling tired, and everything you studied the night before is gone. So how do you fix all of this? Here's a system you can start today. Step 1. Study in focused sessions. Turn off distractions. Put your phone away. Set a timer for 30 to 50 minutes. Step 2. Use active recall. Don't just read. Quiz yourself. Cover the page and try to explain it out loud. If you can teach it, you understand it. Step 3. Use spaced repetition. Make a schedule. Review today's material again tomorrow, then again in 3 days, then in a week. It doesn't take long. 5 minutes of review can save hours of relearning. Step 4. Connect the dots. Don't memorize facts in isolation. Ask, how does this connect to something I already know? Link it to real-life examples. Turn it into a story. Step 5. Respect your brain. Get enough sleep. Drink water. Eat foods that fuel your mind. Because a tired, dehydrated brain is like trying to run a phone on 1% battery. Now let me ask you this. Think about the last time you studied for hours and remembered nothing. What method were you using? Were you cramming? Were you multitasking? Were you reading passively instead of recalling? The truth is, it's not about how many hours you put in. It's about how smart those hours are. One focused hour with the right techniques is worth more than 5 distracted hours of rereading. And here's the part nobody tells you. Studying isn't supposed to feel like torture. When you do it the right way, it actually becomes interesting. Because your brain loves solving problems. It loves making connections. It loves the feeling of progress. So don't beat yourself up if you've been struggling. Don't think you're dumb. You're not. You just need to stop fighting against your brain and start working with it. Because when you understand how memory works, everything changes. Suddenly you're not just studying for hours, you're actually learning. And when you learn, you remember. So the next time you feel like nothing is sticking, pause. Change the method. Don't blame yourself. Because you are capable of remembering so much more than you think.